Hi, friends. This is Caitlin. I am so excited to be back with you for Pink and Main. Tonight, we are going to be taking a look at the Stamp and Die of the Month. I already see so many people checking in. Virginia said she'll be back in a few minutes. I see Lori from Wisconsin, Maria, Barbara, Susan, and Judith so far. Thank you all so much for coming to hang out. This one I think is going to be pretty fun. The new stamp set is really cute and it has a very unique style where the critters are drawn to be fuzzy. And so I thought doing an emboss resist watercolor with them would be interesting to see if we can get the pigment to kind of move between the embossed lines. But I haven't tested this out and I don't actually know if it's going to work. So I also have some re-inkers here just in case. And if we need to, we'll just stamp in color. But I have to at least try. So I'm very excited to see what happens. I see Julie, Dawn, my dad, Michelle's checking in from Puerto Rico. So it's going to be a good one. Let's go ahead and get switched over so that you guys can see the stamp of the month if you haven't already checked it out. So this is called Easter Fuzzies, and it is so stinking cute. So it's all of these little bunnies and baby chicks. Um, this one in the little Easter or like the little egg carton, and then the Easter basket is so cute. Little jelly beans, little eggs, but these are just drawn in such a fun way with that fuzzy edge that I'm just hoping that it'll work. I agree, Stamperoo, that it would be adorable in flock, but I don't have the right colors for that. And so I thought it would be weird. Let's see. I have light pink, hot pink, and blue. So the light pink, maybe, the cotton, what is that? Yeah, cotton candy might work for like the bunnies, but I don't know. Um, So yeah, I just figured I mostly want to play with the like this one really stood out to me. So I think we're gonna do the egg carton with the basket on one side and then the little chick that's dressed up as a bunny on the other side. Um, and we'll see. I am gonna get these started first because I do want the watercolor paper to have time to dry a little before we try to cut them out. I see Melissa checking in. Laura's checking in from California. Lovely. All right, let's get these guys. I don't know why I took the dies out. That's okay. We need it now. And we're going to keep this packaging and combine them into that. Anyway, I always combine my dies and my stamps ASAP so that I don't lose them. They don't get separated. So I'm just slipping the stamp edge in, the backing into the die packaging. I'll cut off the little adhesive tab and I will cut off the hanging tag. And that's how I store, well, this will get slid back in the front, but that's how I store my stamps. That way I never have to worry about tracking down dies. Oh, Melissa, yeah, I didn't have the easiest time in the very beginning with my mini mink, but I promise it gets so much easier, so much, like so quickly. So don't give up. Donna's checking in from California too. Lots of Californians. All right, so I have my Pink and Main watercolor cardstock. This is 140-pound cold pressed. And it looks like there's one side that's just a tad smoother than the other. So I am going to use that side. I have my embossing ink and I have my frosting pure white embossing powder. So let's prep this with some anti-static magic brush. Hey, Connie. Okay, let's get these guys. Should have done that first. That's okay. Go. These are going to go right down at the bottom. Hey, Mary. Thanks for checking in. And this little basket with the bunny's butt sticking out of the top is just too cute. I couldn't resist it. You know what else might be cute? Or a couple of those little eggs. So we can like tuck them in between as we're arranging. I'm going to prime my stamps just by rubbing my hand on them a little bit. And this is going to be a little tricky because we're stamping clear on white. So I'm going to do this probably like a good 3 times just to try to make sure that I get as good of an impression as I can. Yes, Mary, I agree. This Pink and Main is known for super cute images, but this new release that's coming in a couple of weeks and this new Stampin' Guide of the Month are like next level adorable, in my humble opinion. I'm so ready for spring. It's probably a key factor. So I'm going to go in with my white frosting embossing powder. Now it looks pretty good, pretty clean. It's a very, I know it's not going to be easy for you to tell, but you can kind of see that it's there. So I'll get this funneled in and then I will heat emboss this. We'll melt it with our heat gun, who, although having a little warping on the end, is still going strong. Hey, Virginia. Oh no, Mary's on a no buy. Are you trying to no buy just as long as possible, or do you have a set time frame? Because I know a lot of people do no buy January. I don't think I could do that. I mean, I could, but I guess that I just don't want to. All right, I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to be quiet for a minute so that this doesn't blast your eardrums. All right. I pre-apologize that this is basically going to look like nothing for a minute. Can we even get it to show you? Not well. Well, it's there. We're going to let that cool off for a second. And we'll prep for our watercoloring. Once we get the watercolor on the paper, it will pop a lot more. And I'll walk you through my thoughts while we work. I'm going to trim my panel down just in case I'm messier than I intend to be. And I have my little measuring cup with water over here because it seemed like tempting fate to have it by my desk too early. All right, so I have my gems here, my watercolor gems. These colors I'm thinking more for like the eggs and stuff. I grabbed latte for the baskets. I want to try mixing Milky Way and dark sky for the little bunny butts. And then I have some pink and some yellow for our little chicks. I guess the pink is more for like in the ears and stuff. So I guess we'll start with the Sunny. Ignore my paint palette. It is moderately dingy at this point. I'm going to try to just tap out a little of my pigment. These are pretty tiny. Hey, Dawn, my other Dawn. All right, and I am using one of the Pink and Main watercolor brushes, but I did not fill the top with water. I like dipping my brush into the water so that I'm in a little more control about how much water is getting put down at once. So I'm going to start with just a little bit of a wash of yellow, hoping that it helps just kind of pop for you guys. And the nice thing is that the where the embossing, like where the image isn't like broken up for those fuzzy edges, the embossed will resist. All right. So now that I have that in place, I'm going to add a little more pigment to my mixture and go around the edges. And we can kind of slowly build up our colors. And you know what might be cute too is to add in a little bit of our orange or citrine. I have a little brush here I'm just going to use to scoop. Because having something that's just a little bit darker, a little orangey, should help give a little extra definition too. I'm kind of stippling that in. Those edges. Let's see, can you find it? I had it a minute, a little bit. Still working on tweaking these settings. Yeah, there we go. And then my thought was if I take a clean brush and some water right on the other side of those white lines and kind of just make like a little halo around our little chick. But that'll help kind of give that fuzzy feeling. It's not looking the way I was hoping it was going to look. It's cute. It looks slightly better in person than it does. What can I do? I think I'm going to try, because if this doesn't work, we'll pivot. But I'm going to try a tiny bit of construction re-inker and see if we can just deepen up the edges a little bit with pigment versus shimmer. I just don't want it to look completely orange. And I'm sure there are other people who are colorists or watercolorists who would be able to do this with the white resist and it would work. But it's just not, I just don't love it. I'm going to finish this one and see if everything else filled in makes me feel better about it. But I'm warning you now, I have a sneaking suspicion that we are going to pivot these plans. That's so funny. People finding each other in the chat. Love that. Right. I think it's mostly because I'm trying to keep that chick so light. Because you can see that basket pops no problem. That's the latte brown. And then I want just a little bit of the dark sky gray. I think it's really that the chick's eyes are white that's bothering me. I don't seem to care about, yeah, that pigment was not the right move either. The re-inker on top of that. It's drying back really weird. I'm not loving it. So we're going to pivot. We're going to do the same thing, but I'm just going to color. I tried to step out of the box. If it was like a Sunday afternoon and I was here by myself, I would probably keep trying and figure out a way, hopefully, to either make it work, or I would heat emboss with black. Maybe we should just heat emboss with another color. You guys let me know in the comments. Would you rather we stick to watercolors and we just don't use the white, or should I switch to markers? I'm going to get both ready, and that way when we figure out what we feel better about, I will be good to go. Or we could stamp with like gray and heat emboss in clear, so it would be softer than black. Markers, 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 markers. Okay. Everybody said markers. Perfect. Love that you have my back. We will use watercolors another time very soon when I can pick something that I have tried, and then maybe I won't look so silly, but it's okay because it's you guys. You guys aren't going to judge me, right? Our lives are a safe space. Okay. Yeah, I agree, Melissa. I think the white is the issue, which was like what I was going for, right? I wanted to use the white so it would look fuzzy, but I think maybe like a soft gray or like a light brown even with like clear embossing powder on top would have been a better choice. But instead of struggling through and dragging you all with me, I think this will be a better solution for us for just tonight. Sorry if anybody is terribly disappointed about not seeing more watercolor. I am a self-proclaimed non-watercolor artist though. So hey Kendra. Yeah, Dawn said maybe if we did white on colored paper, which I also agree. Michelle just asked if I've ever been on Craft Roulette. Funny, you should mention that, Michelle. I've been on Craft Roulette 3 times. I am a Craft Roulette alum. And I loved it. I loved all 3 times. I'm hoping to get back in there with Mary this fall. I personally prefer going on at the end of the summer, beginning of the fall, because I love Halloween. And she changes up some of her, oh God, what's that word? Parameters. She changes up some of the parameters to be more Halloween themed. I also want to make sure everybody knows that there's Pink and Mean has a new lives going on too. There was one last night for the new subscription, like some of the subscription stuff. So make sure that you're subscribed and following on Facebook, subscribed on YouTube and following on Facebook, because there's some really fun stuff going on and some extra bonus videos happening here and there. Let's knock this out. I'm gonna go C's for our bunny butt. We're gonna start with C5. And I'm still gonna try to do things to make these look as fuzzy as possible. So I'm kind of doing little hash marks, little flicks, instead of creating like a solid wall of color around his little bum. We'll jump to C3. And then C1. And with the C1, I'll also lightly pull that color out. Same with the feet, just so it looks really soft. It's not enough on the tail to get any kind of definition, so we'll bring in just a touch of C3, that medium shade, just right on the edges. And go back in and add some little fuzzies, a little fuzzy butt. He's got to have pink feet. Go like an RV. So RVO2. Oh, the advent calendar was definitely wonderful this year. I highly recommend that. I think that's a great choice, Mary. All right, I'm gonna bring in the E40s for a neutral brown. Just kind of adding some color to the bottom of that band and the bottom of the basket handles. I like to just kind of pick a side on that basket weave. Also be a little bit under there. I'm going to go ahead and leave these out because we're going to use the same colors on the little basket on the chick next to this. So we did 43, now we're using 42. This week is, well, the last week I'd say in general, has been the week of pivoting live for me. I went live on my own channel on Saturday and made a big hiccup at the end and had to scramble a little bit and make that work. So this week has been one of adapting. So that's our little basket, super cute. And I wasn't sure what paper I wanted to use from the Pastel Dreams when I was looking at the watercolors because I wasn't sure what was going to work. But I definitely want to use the rainbow now that I know we're using Copics and I know I can color match to that. So I'm going to color the eggs in more colors like those. So that means we need our hex chart. Yeah, I love being able to share how I kind of am able to pivot and make things work when my projects start to go awry. So RV55 looks like a really good match. And those eggs are really tiny. So for some of these, I think a single color is probably going to be good enough. Maybe like RV17 in case it needs a partner. Let's look at our orange. YR12. Where are you? And my R12 works really great with YR14. That yellow is kind of funky. It's like a little greeny. I don't know. YO6. Working way off. Teal. BGO1 and O2. One, two, probably won't even use all of these. Look at our greens. G24 and 21. G24. I don't see a G21. It might have died and I might have forgotten to write it down. All right, 20 it is. Hopefully we won't need both. All right. So for these eggs, let's just do a little mixture. Do some BG01 back there. BG24. Six. Just kind of making little patterns. For this one, we can come back in with the white gel pen if we want and put those polka dots back. Why are 12? Oh, Lila's checking in from the Philippines. All right, so there we have that little basket done. Let's get this basket taken care of, this itty bitty guy, really quick. Same idea, just way smaller scale. Right, Kendra? It's matching the paper is like one of my favorite challenges because when it works and you like get the perfect match, it's so satisfying when you see everything all together. One again, I'm not going to put yellow because our chick is going to be yellow. We'll go ahead and use the same pink for the inside of those little ears. And I want the chick to be pretty soft. All right, so we're going to go Y04. And again, doing those little flicks. Y11 is going to tone that down a little bit. This is one of those colors that kind of dries down a little different than it looks when it's wet. And Y00. And again, that's going to dry a little different. So we'll give that a second. It'll still dry down a little more. But he's kind of just like this little sunshiny yellow little baby. And we'll go in with the same cool grays that we used for the little bunny's butt. And honestly, I think I'm just going to leave the top of those white and just shade the bottom like that. We can use the same neutral browns, those E40s, to shade in the carton. And I wanted to use the Pebble cardstock as well. And so these will work perfectly with that cardstock. It is pebble colored. So again, E43, now we're up to E42, and we'll fill in with E41. This marker needs to be refilled. Set that one aside. Right, just like a little recycled cardboard carton. Little fuzz marks on our little baby chick. It just popped up out of that shell. And that would be cute. I'm going to bring in RV11 just because it's, oh no, I will use the same RV that we used on the bunny's toes. And we'll give just like a little blush to our little baby chickies. It's our RV02. Now we have some bigger eggs. So let's use some of the ones that I grabbed 2 shades for. Sneaky marker cap. It's like dancing over there. And again, once we get these die cut and they can dry for a minute, we'll go back in with some white gel pen and bring some more detail to these guys. Let's do the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees. Just doing one side and then across the bottom, keeping it very simple. That is not a big difference in color. We'll pull in some BG11 just because there's so much more space on that one. We can use orange. That's the YR14, 12, G24, and I'm going to try G20. Oh yeah, that's fine. Oh, and this had a purple. We don't have any purple. That looks like a BV. We're just going to wing it because that's been working out so well for me today. BV02. And BV02 is not dark enough. Let's try BV13. There we go. Just so we have some nice contrast. So there are all of our sweet little images, our little fuzzy babies. Okay, Susan asked Is there a trick or a rule for picking shades for the cheeks or inside of ears when you've used something in the outfit? There's definitely not a rule. I personally like the way things look when I stick within the same family. So with RVs here and RVs on our eggs and the red violet markers, um, I didn't want to then bring in an R20 that might have a little less blue in it and a little more orange. Um, it's not a rule. I just find that if I stay within the same general color story, most of the time my piece looks more, whatever I'm coloring looks more cohesive. If you want something to stand out, then using the other color would make more sense. So if you wanted, like on this character, on a single character, I would try to keep, RVs or regular R's. But if I was doing a dog versus a cat, I might want them to look as opposite as possible. I mean, they already obviously look pretty opposite, but if I want to enhance that, then that's a way you can use switching up your blush color family on purpose. Like that, I think. So yeah, if I'm going for cohesion and everything to fit, then I'm using the same family. If I want it to stand out, they look separate intentionally, then I will change it up. All of these little eggs have these tabs on the side of the dies. And this just makes it so much easier to tape down and to see and place. I love that Pink and Me does this. I mean, for that one specifically, it's not going to work, but that's my fault for how I stamped it, not Pink and Me's fault. I will take full ownership of that decision. All right, where are our chickadees? Chickadee. And also, I forgot to tell you guys, we talked a lot about how lovely it is that Pink and Mean has their dies pre-cut. And then last week, I stabbed my thumb so bad with someone else's, another company's, the little things that hang off the edge of the die when you cut them. It took like 10 minutes for it to stop enough so that I could finish my card. I was so mad. Definitely still my fault. But one thing I don't have to worry about when I am live with you guys is bleeding out on YouTube or Facebook. So that's nice. This tape is in my way. And some of that little fuzziness, especially on the chicks, might get kind of lost in the sauce when we die cut these. But I still think overall the idea is gonna be clear. So cute. I just need one. I have to take them off because I don't want to run them through a second time on nothing. I love that the Easter basket die cuts that handle. Oh, Susan, yeah, I hope that helps. That coloring. That's true for everything, right? If I'm using different grays, or I'm using grays in multiple places on my card. If I want, the things I'm coloring to all look like they belong together, they came from the same place, then I'll try to use the same gray. But if I have, a gray bear and I have gray rocks, I want them to look different, right? One's alive and one in theory would be colder. So normally I will try to use a warmer gray or a neutral for critters, and I use my cool grays for inanimate objects, unless my cool grays are the only gray on the card, like with our bunny. That's again also not a rule, just something to think about. Anytime you're doing, especially if you're doing more of a scene card where you have lots of stuff colored in one thing, definitely something to consider. All right, let's get this card wrapped up. So I have my zigzag, I have my pebble cardstock. Oh, thank you, Kendra. I always forget to ask that. Yes, if you guys have a chance and you want to leave a thumbs up, especially if you're on whether you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, but especially if you're on YouTube, it will help the algorithm to send us to more like-minded people who could benefit from hanging out with us 2 nights a week. Speaking of 2 nights a week, this is your friendly reminder because we're going to go a little longer than we usually do. So I'll try to get some of my end wrap up stuff done now. If you haven't been watching on Thursdays, we have been swatching embossing powders on the last 2 Thursdays. We will finish our swatch series this Thursday. I did that backwards because I'm talking. This is going to be solid and this is going to be cut out so our images will pop. We are going to be wrapping up our embossing powder swatch fest party this Thursday. We're going to go through my neutral bin. So we have the final 16 embossing powders to cover. We'll talk about white and clear, but I don't think we really need to swatch them. You guys tell me if that's incorrect. If you really need them swatched, then I will figure out. White we could do on black, but clears. But yeah, so if you haven't seen the other ones and you want to go back and see all of the colors, you can do that. They are all saved and you are available for replay on YouTube and Facebook. They're broken up. The first one is red, orange, yellow, green, and a little teal. And then the one we did last week was blue, dark, like true blue, pink, and purple. All right, I used my zigzag die, rectangle die, to cut out my pebble cardstock. Just threw my stamps on the floor. We're going to pop this pebble up with some foam tape, which is like devastatingly low. I have to make a note so I remember to put it in order. I have too many to-dos. Right, I'm going to stand up. Try to get this in. The other option that would have worked really well to separate this if you didn't want to do foam would be to match that with just a little bit of white. I think that would look really pretty. Oh, my bracelets are Taylor Swift friendship bracelets. So this is one I made. It says "Don't blame me," and then the one on top is one I got at the movie. I took my girls to the movie instead of the concert because they're little and the world is crazy. So yeah, I have my now that she announced her album. I am a pretty diehard Swiftie girl. Um, so with the new album coming, I broke all my bracelets back out, put back into circulation. I think a little bit of a like diagonal scatter there is really cute. Either that or the little bunny can go, or like maybe he comes in front a little more. No, I like it as a diagonal. I think that's cute. And then we have our little extra eggs. And we have our Happy Easter sentiment. Sorry, Barbara, it's so funny that you say that. Um, my grandma tells me that all the time. She watches my lives, and she is always like, "Your fingers are just flying. Your hands are just flying across that screen." So it's really funny that you say that. But I move so fast. I'm also in like overdrive, trying to get us caught up from my watercolor uh, not mistake, our adventure. There you go. That's one from my mom. Growing up, my mom never admitted that she ever got lost. We were just on an adventure. So that one's for her. Let me grab, I want pink. I don't want black. We'll go in with some dress shop ink. Pop our Happy Easter. 100%. We should have done this before I added foam, but that's okay. It seems like it's worked out fine. The universe is back on my side. And the last time I told you guys that I wasn't going to add the drop shadow with a marker, it was not, I did not like it. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly do that now because I think it really is worth it. Maybe we'll go, I really want gray. Let's go back to our ease. Maybe something like that. So I'm just going to go in with the lighter marker and just kind of very lightly make some marks there. Then when I go in, I like to fill in kind of above that space. I don't need the 44. So that was E43. My 42 is dry. So I'm going to go in with 41, which is a pretty big jump. But because we're working on a colored cardstock, it'll be okay. And I just want to kind of pull those edges out on both sides and the bottom. And this is going to dry back way lighter than it looks right now because of that alcohol ink. These, because we popped up the panel, are going to go on with liquid glue. My basket is the most in the back, the furthest from us. Get that lined up with the put our little curtain in. Okay. All right, let's add a couple little dots. for our eggs. And I also have my pastel pearls. Nope. Um, there we go. All gone. Thank you all. Yeah, I haven't had enough troll experience to know if like the one last week I knew for sure immediately was a troll. The one that one I didn't know because it was so polite. But I appreciate you guys. I know you guys are. I try to watch lives during the week, but I also am live so often during the week. I know that there's stuff I miss. So if you guys see that, you can always let me know and we will take care of it. I don't think it needs the pearls. I have these just so you can see what I'm talking about if you haven't seen the pastel pearls before. And they are perfect for Easter. But they're only the big size. And I just think, oh no, there's littles. But I still think that I think that's enough. So there is our sweet little Easter card. It definitely turned out different than I thought when we started, but it's still very cute. And so I hope it gets you guys excited about the stamp and die of the month. I love seeing all of you guys having conversations and talking and supporting each other in the comments. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, as I said before, I will be back on Thursday at at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, white gel pen. Listen, Melissa, we're almost at that. I will add my gel pen and I promise I'll post a picture of this tomorrow to my Instagram and I'll tag Pink and Maine and that way you guys can see it with the white gel pen. So I really try to keep us under an hour. But yes, we'll be back here on Thursday at 8:30 to do the last of our swatches. I'll also show you the card on Thursday with the white gel pen so you can see it there. But yeah, I hope you guys have a really great night. Thank you so much for sticking through this. I really appreciate you. And I will see you back here on Thursday. Until then, guys, happy crafting.